Good afternoon. It is Wednesday. This is going to be the second live I am doing, and I'm gonna see if I can add my colleague. Invited her. I've got no idea how it works. Viviana, I think I've invited you to join. So yeah, there you are. We managed.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Hello. I'm good. I've just got this realization again that I can't see your camera. Something happens when I jump live for some reason. I can't see
Oh,
you. I
really?
think it's something that has to do with my device, but it's fine. I think we'll be okay. I'm happy to be here with you and to join you for this conversation.
Yeah, me
And to
too.
support and inspire people with some of the things that have been going on for us and some of the things that we know and we can share so that we can help people change their energy and mood around challenging times, because that's the intention for today, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. If for some reason we can inspire people to change their mindset if they want to, because it's all up to you whether you do something or not, of course.
Yes, so I think some of the things that I want to share, and I love sharing every time I do a live or I show up, is sharing a little bit of the intention behind the conversation that we're having today. So I think we just said that today we're meeting for the purpose of helping more people, inspiring and motivating more people to find different ways to move past challenging times, ways and methods that they can apply, use to overcome or reconnect to joy and laughter when challenging times occur. I think we're humans and we're having a human experience, all of us. Therefore, we're going through challenging times and beautiful times at the same time. Well, not at the same time, but it
Well,
keeps happening
actually,
to us.
yes. Sometimes it is
And
at the same time.
yes, yeah, we can say at the same time. And so I think it's beautiful to have this conversation. And hopefully, some of you are going to find a different, maybe new perspectives that can support you to deal with life itself, which inevitably brings challenging times our way. So hopefully this conversation is going to provide those new perspectives and methods and tools so that we can feel better equipped to deal with life, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So, Sandra, I was curious about you. I think we said that it would be really nice for us to share a little bit about ourselves before we dive into everything else that we can
Yeah.
share. And when we first met, we had a conversation around our own personal stories. We talked about what makes you connect more to this topic of laughter, and also what makes me connect more to the topic of joy and speak more about joy in my content. So I want to maybe go towards you this time and share with us a little bit about your story and why did you came up with this idea around laugh at shit, because I know that's one of the things that you are saying in your content and on your website, and I think you have a story around that, and I wonder whether you can share with us the essence of the story, a little bit about this story, so that we can find out more.
Yeah, sure. Well, yeah, I think in 2020 I went online with my new website, which was called laughatshit.com.
Yes.
And well, the reason why I did that was because at some point I was going through adversity and I was having a real hard time and didn't know how to become better. So I went to a psychologist and another psychologist, and it didn't help. and I've seen several ones at the time. And my adversity throughout life was, well, I've been bullied at school. I had several heartbreaks. I've been in a relationship with a narcissist for about 10 years. So it was mental abuse. And then, yeah, of course, it follows up at some point with a depression. And then I thought, okay, I've been suicidal, and I thought this is not gonna work. Apparently, I need to change something, because if I don't change, my life won't change either. So that's how I think my journey in self-development started. And I took a year program, and then it went really fast, because I thought, oh, if I look at it that way, it will be easier. And so I've been yeah developing myself, mostly because I wanted to become a better person. I wanted to be happier, and that's why I did so many things. And then I figured out, when I was doing the NLP, that I was really good at guiding other people and
Mm-hmm.
coach and mentor them. And then I thought, okay, maybe this is my purpose. Maybe this is why I'm here, and I should pass on the things that I've learned, and I want to be the person that I needed a few years ago. So that's who I became. And yeah, of course, adversity never stops. We all get our share of shit, let's call it that way. And and I say, okay, but the shit from the past is the fertilizer of the future. So my tagline is, obviously, I guide women how to make the shit from their past the fertilizer of your future. Because if we all need the adversity as well. If we don't know what darkness is, how can we even know what light is? And maybe because I've been through, when I came up with the name Laugh at Shit, I think the universe thought, okay, you want to laugh at shit? Here's a whole pile of shit. See what you can do with that. And yeah, I mean, I can joke about it, and of course, I know it's not easy. And I've been through a really hard year last year, for example, having another depression, but I'm back up again, because you grow through life. You don't go through life, you grow through life, and you'll become a better version of yourself all the time. So yeah, that's why and how I got started, I guess. And I combine it with comedy as well. So I also do stand-up comedy. And my biggest fear was to speak on stage. So this is a way of overcoming my fear, stage fright as well. And yeah, that's, I think that one of the main things is, if we overcome our fears, that is how we grow. So I guess that's my story in a nutshell. So yeah, what about your story?
Yeah, I
Because
think I
you
just
have a pretty nice one too.
I think I want to say hello to everybody that's watching us, and thank you that they're being here and giving us some of their time and attention. And hopefully, our intention of sending a message that supports them and helps them will actually reach them. So yeah, for me, I said to you even when we met last time, currently I'm a mindset coach and an energy healer, and I use, when I say energy healer, what I mean by that is that I use energetic practices to help people rewire their mind, let go of their past, integrate whatever has happened as an experience from the past. And then I also use energetic practices to help people manifest consciously some of the desires of their souls, the things that they really want to manifest and experience in this lifetime. And for me, it has been a journey to get myself here, and I've been going through life, navigating life, exactly as you said, with beautiful experiences and challenging times. But I've been quite fortunate to be a positive person. I've been a very positive person overall, and I think that really, really helped me and supported me along the way. Although this has happened, I have had my share of difficulties times, similar to how you were saying that you've navigated difficult times last year. I feel that I've been navigating a lot of it this year, for example. And I resonated so much with this conversation because I literally just came out of it, and I've been in it for a while, and I think it was so powerful for me to just stay with it, to be with it, to experience a challenging season in my life so that I can help people even more. I feel like it's been such a powerful experience for me, and it helped me to understand even deeper people that have even more challenging experiences. So personally, I've realized a few things through going through darkness, going through challenging times. We all know this idea, right? We know theoretically, most of us that are following personal development and listening and learning, and we have this desire to learn, to grow. We know this idea of, challenging times will actually help us grow, become more, know more ourselves, be more of ourselves, and to rediscover more of our inner power. We know about this conversation, yet you only truly feel it and discover the sense of this affirmation when you go through challenging times, when you experience them and you come out of them at the other side, and then you literally have that aha moment of, this is really true. It is really true that challenging times make us support our growth, allow us to discover more the inner power within. Because you might think that you've grown and you know things and you have tools and you have methods, and then life throws something at you. And I think it always happens in with this intention behind of growth and evolution. There's always evolution and growth in anything that happens in our life if we allow ourselves to see it that way. And then we have this opportunity to go deeper even more, to seek within our power even more, right? And come out of it. And as you navigate that experience that has been challenging, you discover that you survived it. And you maybe discover how it helped, how it supported you, and the power that you truly have to navigate these challenging times, and the power that you have, and how much more powerful you are now when you're thinking of it. Because when you have an experience that is challenging, it might take you a little bit of time to overcome it, but once you did and you were out of it, you then understand that if you were to go through it again, you wouldn't do it the same way. It just helped you. It grew you into being more resilient when similar situations occur. So for me, I want to share a little bit about my story in terms of the method that supported me and helped me to literally overcome this season in my life. And this season in my life is very much related to growing even more into my power as a coach, as a healer, and supporting more people and helping more people. So on one side, I felt challenged to be who I am today. I felt that my identity was a little bit shaken. I felt that I had clients my way coming that have been even more challenging. So my belief in myself and in my capacity to help people and support people, my belief in my identity as a healer and coach has been a bit tested. And I had to come out of it and to feel stronger in myself and who I know to be and how I know to help people, and how powerful it is to work with me, and how life-changing it can be for some people. And so I found a way to do that. And I want to share with you that what I've learned from it was that sometimes we need to make a choice. We need to have a decision that is clear that we take. so that we don't spend too much time in this experience that feels challenging. So, for example, when I share this idea that I've navigated whether I want to continue to show up as a healer and to support people in doing this work, or whether I want to change that, or whether I should move away from this. And in me trying to navigate these challenging times, and there is a part of me who knows deep down that I am this person. I am the healer. I am the coach. I love this identity. But because I've been in this, wobbly experience of whether I should continue, whether this is exactly what I want to do and stick to it, or whether I want to do something else, then I kept feeling super challenged. I kept feeling that it was so heavy, it was so difficult. And I've the thing that has helped me so much, although I have so many methods and tools to work with myself, nothing seemed to be working. And the thing that has helped me so much was one single thing. I read one single thing that literally changed everything for me. And that thing was related to desires. When you have a desire, and my desire is to continue to grow in this field and support more people and be there for more people and to show up and to provide transformation, as I know is possible, and I've done it for so many clients already. And that's the desire of my heart that comes with, fulfillment for the work that you do, that comes with joy and satisfaction from everything that you do. And that's a desire of my heart. Whereas moving away from this field would be something that I don't want. And the thing that I've read was this: when it comes to having a desire, there's only two ways to go about it. You have to check whether you're willing to let go of that desire. So can you let go of that desire? Or the other way about it is to actually go and achieve that thing that you want to achieve. So the perceivedness of suffering and lack only happens when we feel away from that desire, when we either are looking to have it and it appears that it's not ours, or when we need to do something about it and we don't know how to do it. So the moment when you take a decision and you say, okay, this is what I'm going to do and this is my choice, then you don't need to go through the suffering anymore. So then when I said, okay, I'm owning this identity and this is what I want to do and this is my choice, and I didn't have to continue to think whether I'm going to do it or not. So I couldn't let go of desire. I couldn't let go of the desire. I couldn't let go of that desire of my heart. When I've asked myself whether I could let go, I couldn't let go. So then the other choice was, okay, you make it a reality, you make it happen. So you go for it with your full heart and your trust that you can make things the way you want them to be for you. So this was the thing that I've navigated recently. And for me, it was so powerful because it teaches me how to work with people when they have strong desires or when they want to let go of something from the past. We're talking about challenging times, and it's easy to talk about challenging times when you look at them in hindsight. It can get more easy than when you are actually dealing with a challenging experience. But then if you are dealing with a challenging experience right there, right now, how do you let go of it? How do you actually let go of it so you can find freedom? Because bringing joy into the game, I feel like many people struggle to even look at their feelings, not even speaking about bringing joy when challenging times occur. Like people tend to numb their feelings. They tend to go through life without realizing, without paying attention to their feelings. And I think that's one of the things that we need to talk about when it comes to this conversation. And I would love to know if you feel the same or if you think the same, because I feel that when we're very challenged, although we're experiencing low frequency emotions, because life is requiring that we continue to show up for our job, for our children, for our parents, for whatever it is there, right? We tend to numb these feelings. We tend to put them somewhere in the corner, in a corner of our life, our head, our subconscious, and we tend not to look there, right? That's what we normally do. And because of that, we kind of continue to carry them with us in the background rather than addressing them and then letting go of them. Because the moment when we truly let go, this is the moment where we can bring something else in the game. And I think for many people that are experiencing challenging time, they can't even feel true joy. They can't even think of what joy is. Apart from the fact that through this work that I've done with clients, I've realized many times that this energy of joy, many people don't really know what it is. Like literally pure joy. Like it's some people think that they never experience joy, that they don't know what it is. So it's very, very challenging for many of us, for many people. This is a topic of challenge. And so one of the methods that I speak a lot about is actually being there for our emotion, acknowledging the emotion. That's one of the first things that we can do as a first step toward more joy and laughter. That's my perspective. The first step will always be acknowledging, recognizing the emotions that we are experiencing when we are going through challenging times. And for people, it can be different. It can be sadness, it can be shame, it can be grief. It has, they have so many, these emotions have so many names. But when we sit with that emotion, we see it, we give it some focus, some attention, and we understand the message it has for us. We allow ourselves to be with that emotion rather than pushing it away or just, having it there somewhere in the background. The moment we see it, we allow it to be. And again, we know this conversation about allowing our emotions, seeing our emotions, being there with our emotions, but how much do we really practice this? That's another question. What do you think? Do you think people practice this?
Well, before answering that, because I think we have to give the viewers a second to process the information that you gave, because you are so enthusiastic that you've been giving so much information for about 15 minutes that people let them give them a second to process it. In the meantime, let me say that if people are having questions they want us to answer, that they can also ask them so that we can answer the questions as well, right?
Yes,
Um,
definitely. And especially, most of the times, like a conversation itself might bring up something in you, a question, a feeling, a thought that you want some insights on. So that bring that on if you do have them, for sure.
okay, let me think about that. So maybe I'm going to get on that as well. What I think,
Definitely.
but
Definitely. If you feel like there's questions, go for them.
yeah, I mean, then I might as well take advantage of it, right?
Absolutely. That's what makes the conversation valuable, always more valuable.
It is, yeah, and I think I agree with you because the main thing when we are struggling or when we go through adversity, I experienced myself that the hardest thing is to accept. Um,
Yes.
we need to accept and stop fighting. We are programmed. Our brain is programmed to just be strong and fight and blah 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 because we want things to be in a certain way. When they are not in the way that we actually expected it or wanted it, that is when life goes wrong. Or, well, at
Yes.
least we think it goes wrong. It's never wrong, because right and wrong is only existing in our minds. There
Yes.
is no, the situation is as it is, and we determine what meaning we give to it. And when I first heard that, I got so pissed off. I thought, yeah, that's easy talk, and it's not that easy, because I feel angry or ashamed, or but the only way to change it is to look at it from a different angle. For me, so if, for example, my dad passed 4 years ago, and I still struggle with missing him a lot, because he was such a big part of my life. He wasn't just my father. He was, yeah, well, they say anyone can be a father, but it takes a special man to be a dad, right? And so I could be really upset, but being upset doesn't help, because it's not bringing him back. Though I found it really hard to find a balance in it, to find out that, okay, it's okay to not be okay. So of course you need to have some time to be sad, because it's a big thing.
Yes. Yes.
And what we try is, like you say, we try to hide the feelings,
Yeah.
or put them under the mat. That is the worst thing you can do, because you can do it and you can say, oh, I don't feel it, or I don't see it. You might not even be aware of doing it, but it will come back to you in different ways until you are willing to deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I cannot exactly say how you do it, but at some point it's enough. When you feel like you're tired of feeling the way you feel, that is
Yes.
when you change.
And this is what I was saying about the choice, it's like letting go. It's a choice. You
Yeah,
just say, I had enough. I'm tired. This was it. I feel complete in this. And it can be anything. It could be the grief, it could be the shame, it could be anything. And then you feel like that's it. I feel complete now. I feel I can move on. I feel I can let go of this. But the thing is, I think we're so much required, society, depending on what you do and you're experiencing in your life, society requires from us to be mentally well all the time, to show like everything's okay, right? Even when we're asking this question, how are you today? And everyone says, I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay. But in true honesty, we're all navigating so many things, right? We're all navigating stuff behind the curtains. And one thing that you talked about, acceptance, I discovered that acceptance is the very first step that we can do in any healing process when we're coming out of a challenging experience, when we want to heal ourselves, when we want to let go. Acceptance is the very first step. So accepting the emotion, accepting the experience, accepting that that was what you've been going through, accepting that this is what you're feeling, accepting that, allowing it to be, because most of the times we do not want to feel it. We do not want to feel the grief. We do not want to feel the sadness. We do
yeah,
not want to feel it, right? And because we do not want to feel it, we resist it and we only push it away for a while, but it continues to be here in the background, the back of our mind, and it carries still a
I
weight.
think,
Whereas when we accept it, that's the very first step that changes.
yeah, but I think there's a step even before acceptance. The first step for me would be awareness,
Yeah.
because most people are not aware that they are resisting, because
Yes.
it's so programmed in our mind. Once you become aware, that is when because you can only accept it when you're aware of it.
Yes.
And so that's where it starts. And as soon as you start becoming aware, because resentment is the hardest thing to do, it's really, really the hardest thing to do. So if once we stop resisting to what is, that's when we can accept, and then we can move forward.
Mhm.
um so
And then there's the third one, the third step that I call the letting go. That's when we can let go. I think it's an important process. You said it very correctly. Awareness is the first step because, without being aware that actually we are experiencing an emotion and it's there and it's present, but we're not paying attention, we're not giving our focus and attention to it, we can't do anything about it. But then we do, and we kind of come into acceptance to it. We allow it to be. We accept it that is part of this reality. We accept that the emotion that is not so positive and negative is part of the reality. We accept that challenging times are part of the reality. But then there's this ultimate process that I call the letting go. Letting go is when it's what you said, if you feel like, that's it. Like, I had enough of this. Like, I feel like I can let go now. I can just release. I can move away from it. We're receiving some beautiful likes and hearts,
Yeah,
and
I
that's
saw
really
that.
beautiful. Thank you for that. So I think that and the magic of it, the letting go is something very powerful because it brings a sense of freedom. Because every emotion obviously has a place in the body. And I've learned that through personal experience and with my clients, because there's something very beautiful that I experience in my client sessions. I really can connect because we're energy and everything is interconnected. I really can connect with their energy. And for example, I can sense that the blockage, the emotion is held in their chest or in their stomach or somewhere in the body, right? And then when the process happens, when the letting go happens, we literally release it from the body, the sense of freedom that people experience is just fantastic, and it's so beautiful, and it's so uplifting, and it's so miraculous that I can't even describe it into words. But personally, I had magical experiences with people, and I know that when you get there, there's an automatic sense of peace, of inner peace that comes to most people. Most people feel this sense of peace, and then obviously joy can find its way again in our life in a very beautiful way, in a very, really, we can really feel it, because I think most times when we're challenged, we don't really feel the intensity of the emotion. We don't really feel that emotion as it is. We're supposed to be happy. We're supposed to laugh, but it's like kind of half quarter of a way when we're challenged, and we're still holding on to some certain emotions that are not so positive, that we call negative. And when we truly experience letting go, then joy has a different sense, has a different feeling and a different meaning for us. We can really enjoy life again. We can really laugh truly from our whole being. And I think it's really important to talk about this and to share this, and this idea of the intensity of an emotion. That's another topic that I speak quite a lot, because with any emotion, I feel like we can experience it on a scale.
Yeah, but
Like, so you can
letting go,
feel, yeah,
letting go is not for some people. Let's say, for example, with the passing of my dad, then it doesn't mean that letting go is not, doesn't mean that I let him go. No,
yes,
it means that I let go of the pain that I feel of missing him. Because, and what I discovered for myself, for example, is how I did that was by realizing, because I think grief is love with no place to go. Uh, so I experienced that. Um, I was so grateful because you can only feel so much pain if there was so much love. So
mm-hmm.
um, I don't need to let him go as a person. Oh, there's a fly. Or I don't need to um, um, forget about him. No, letting go
Yes,
is just releasing yourself from the pain it's doing. It's like, for example, another example. Uh, when I was in the relationship with my narcissistic ex-boyfriend for 10 years, forgiveness was so important. Um, and it was easier to forgive him than to forgive myself. But forgiveness means, it doesn't mean it's okay what you did. No, it means I'm done. It's brought me something. Even if I don't see it, I think looking back now, it brought me a lot of things because it made me the person who I am today. Without it, I wouldn't be the same person. So we tend to not forgive because we maybe want to hold a grudge because it's not fair, blah blah blah. But maybe life isn't always fair. Maybe it's not, and maybe it
Yes.
is, because I do believe that the universe gives us what we ask for. So in some way, we might have asked for something that will give us, and life is always happening for us, not against us. There's no one. I don't believe there is a God or a universe that says, okay, well, you need to feel pain right now. I'm gonna hurt you. This, I mean, doesn't that on itself, in any religion, sound weird?
Yes,
There's no
definitely.
religion that does that. So why do we people intend to do that? And it's the same for blaming others. If you point a finger at someone else, three fingers point at you. You don't want to do that because then you'll become a victim. You don't want to be a victim. You want to be in control of your life. You want to sit on the driver's seat. And the only way to do that is to take responsibility. So what I did after my relationship was saying, okay, I forgive him, and I had to forgive myself. That took a lot longer. But then when I was willing to forgive myself for not seeing myself, not treating myself that well, and then I was in control again. Otherwise, it would be that other people that are not even in a part of your life anymore, they are not even thinking about you anymore. And you let them still control your life. It's like let them live rent free in your head.
Yes,
That's no
definitely. You're
use.
very correct.
And now I see that someone is asking a
Yes,
question.
Cosme is asking, why do we always find joy after suffering? Is this the only way? That's a
I
very
don't
good
think so.
question. I
I
like this
I like
question.
that too because maybe I'm different than other people, but I think that we don't find joy or laughter after suffering, but we can also find it during the suffering. And I mean, for example, when we were dealing with the funeral for my dad, um, my dad had passed in his sleep. So they had to put him on a, how do you say that, a brancard, and then they had to take him down from the bedroom. And the person that I called to tell that they had to pick him up said, oh, I knew your dad. I will send two people. But if he would have known my dad, he would have known that it was a really, really big man. And he sent two women to take him downstairs. Of course, they got stuck in on the stairs. And I was just standing there with my brother, and we were laughing. And I said, well, do you need my brother? I said, well, at least he's at the last trip he's making, he's going to be sandwiched. And we were
So you
laughing.
made no laugh,
It,
right? You made.
it was so funny. I said, well, maybe you have to put him up and then it will be easier. But then he would have been upside down. And then the women realized how uncomfortable or how weird it was because we were standing in front of the stairs. But it was painful, but that's just what happens. If you are able to find, I think in every adversity or every situation is always three things: something to be grateful for, something to learn, and something to laugh about. And sometimes it needs a really, really good luck before you find it. But I know in the end you will find it. So yeah, I think during the suffering, depending on how you define suffering, but you can still, and that is, for me, that was a whole travel to find it out. on how to do it. I've always been quite positive person though, but going through adversity and then still find something positive that you can find. Nothing is ever permanent. For example, let's say for someone that's suicidal, and I've been suicidal, so I know, but committing suicide is a permanent solution for a temporary problem. No matter how hard the time is, nothing is ever permanent. Even the worst day only lasts 24 hours.
Yeah. So I want to share also a perspective
Yes.
on this idea. Why always do we find joy after suffering? I think it is a lot to do also with polarity and our perception, because it's exactly what you were saying, like how do we know what light is if we don't know what dark is? But and it's a bit related to what I was saying in terms of intensity. But look at the day, right? When the day is out, it doesn't mean we don't have darkness, right? There's darkness as well when day is, when there's light and there's a lot of sun, there's a lot of light. But sometimes, it's not always that light, but still we consider it light. And as the day comes to an end, more darkness comes into, and so we go more and more and more into dark. And then there's a place where we feel it's dark. We acknowledge it as darkness now, as if we have two poles, right? We have this polarity. There's dark and light. And it's kind of very similar with joy and suffering, right? We kind of recognize it a bit more when we're moving from a polarity to the other
Yeah.
one. As if, we start to recognize, oh, really, I'm super joyful now here because you're in that energy of joy. And then slowly maybe things happen, and there's, it doesn't mean that you don't have joy, but maybe there's a little bit of pain as well. And then maybe there's a lot of pain at some point, right? And you're really in some form of suffering, an emotion that is very heavy. And so you're very distant, right? You're in this other pole. So it doesn't mean that it's not there. It's just that we do not recognize it in those moments. Our focus goes more on one pole or the other. So our focus goes more, we're giving more attention to that experience of the pain rather. Joy is always there. Joy, uh, happiness, whatever, any emotion is always available to us. They're available to us all the time. Yet, because of what we're choosing to give focus to, attention to, even unconsciously, even when we put it, let's say, it doesn't seem to be in our full focus, but it's there. Our subconscious mind still holds on to it. It's still in our focus. And so that's why we kind of, my perspective is that's why we kind of feel that we experience more joy after suffering. It's because we're more into this pole now. We give more focus to this now. It doesn't mean it's not there. It's always there. It will always be available. And it's a choice. If we would know deep down that joy is a matter of choice, that happiness is a matter of choice, that is just a feeling, an emotion that you can choose, and you have the power, the mind has the power to choose that in a moment in time versus another thing. If we would really own this power, then definitely things would be very different. But we don't necessarily play with this as much. And it's not easy because we are conditioned. Definitely we are conditioned when hard times kick in. What happens is that we go into protection mode, right? We go into trying to be safe, to feel safe. There's another thing about challenging times, and it's very connected to what you said, Sandra. We have this sense of loss in challenging time. I don't know if you resonate to that, but I think there's a sense of lack and loss when we're going through challenging times, as if there's something missing, that there's something that is not right, or that we've lost something. And that's still a perception that is going on. It's still in our perception, this lack and the sense of losing something. It's a perception that we have because we've never lost anything. Everything is always available to us. And though the circumstances show somehow, for example, even what you said about grief, yeah, it's very important what you said. You did not lose your father, but his energy is going to always be available to you because your memories, because of, if you believe in life after death, if you believe in energy being always available, there's always there. We're always connected to something greater, and you cannot lose anything. You cannot lack anything. But because we connect to certain things in different moments in times, and our minds put focus to give something to focus to just something, that's when we have this feeling of, we've lost something, something's wrong, or something's wrong with me, or I don't have something is missing in me, when it comes to challenging times. And the other thing that comes to my mind now is how we process challenging times. Challenging times might come with intense emotions. And that's when trauma sets in, right? For many of us, depending on what we call a challenging time. And the mind tends to preserve that information so that it helps us when similar situations occur in the future. So when an intense emotion is experienced, whatever that emotion is, and if it's negative, the mind stores it so that in similar situation, then the mind does something to protect us, make sure we're safe and secure. And so it's important to know that those emotions need to be processed. Like if you're going through challenging time, we're going back to what we said, right? This is a method. We're going back to allowing yourself to stay with that emotion, to process that emotion so that it doesn't become a trauma, so it doesn't stick to you and you carry it with you until you do find a moment to process it, until you do actually give yourself permission to process it so you can let go of it. So rather we would stay with it there, and find a way to go through it so that we can let go when it's happening or short after it's happening, then, trying to move on, but never processing that experience truly. So challenging times are great opportunities, to discover more of who we are, to learn, as you said. I loved what you said about the 3 things.
Yeah, because I think that's really important. And now what came to my mind as well, because the word suffering, I don't know, it does, apparently that's a trigger for me, suffering. And I remember reading this quote saying, pain is inevitable, but suffering is a choice. And that was
Yeah.
also something that could really piss me off.
Yeah,
But
it's triggering, isn't
yeah,
it?
and at some point, while I was going through a lot at the same time last year, I was thinking, okay, is this pain or am I suffering? And I did the first step again by becoming aware of it. And I thought, no, I'm suffering. But who is actually then suffering? Who is letting me suffer? I do that. Is it necessary? No. Does it help me? No. What would help you? Well, if you think about something else. And I know that is not an easy thing, because if I look back at myself now, going back like let's say 10 years, I'm a total different person. I think about things so different than I used to do. And then I think, this is what happens, and this is what actually some of the adversity brought me, because it always brings something. And what most people are not aware of, adversity brings something, and people don't like, we people are programmed, we don't like change. I mean, we want to change things, but at the same time we want it to stay the way it is. So for example, um some people are, let's say in London Central, let's say London Paddington Station. If you are going there and you are waiting for a boat, it's never gonna come. So you need to do it yourself. And we I think why we don't like changes is because we are afraid of what we don't know yet. So it's being afraid for the unknown. And I learned myself that the unknown is sometimes really exciting and not just scary. Because if you so we tend to stay in the, let's say, in the adversity, because that is what we know. We don't like the feeling of it, but we know that's, at least we know what we
It's
do.
safe. We know
It's
it's
safe.
safe. That's the only way why we stay in the familiar.
Exactly.
It's safe.
And that is why I probably stayed in that relationship for 10 years, because I already knew I had to get out. I just didn't have the nerves or the balls to do it. But now life got so much better. And so a change is always a sign of something good. The change is not there for nothing. And if we become aware that we don't like to feel this way, and we realize that we're staying there because we're just afraid for the unknown, then ask yourself, what could the unknown bring? What is the best that could happen? But you know what? We are programmed to think, what is the worst thing that can happen? It's the same question. I mean, I remember when I sat at the table and thinking, oh my God, this is too much for me. Why is this happening to me? People always say, why me? You know what the answer was? Why not? Same question. Only then you take responsibility to do something with it. So
Mm-hmm.
I think if you know, change is never to make things worse. It's always to make things better.
Yeah,
And
I'd go in a whole conversation, but this should be a whole topic in itself. I'd go on a whole
exactly,
conversation around fear and why fear shows up and how can we literally handle fear. I think personally, I think the root of our most of our problems is fear when it comes to being more, creating more, experiencing more in this lifetime. There's a lot that has to do with fear. And that fear comes either as a result of past experiences, and traumas and past experiences, whatever we can call our past. It can be collective past, personal past. There's a past that has an impact on who we are today. And that it's a lot to do. That brings a lot of fear because of those experiences and what we know about these experiences unconsciously, obviously, because we are not quite conscious of them. And there's a lot of fear also when it comes to projecting the future. You know, there's a lot of fear when people are dealing with challenging times. This energy of fear can be there because we are projecting a future that is not so positive, and we don't see it as too positive. So I would go on a whole conversation when it comes to fear and how we handle it. But personally, I think fear is one of the 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 top emotions that creates challenges for people.
yeah,
And learning how to work with your fear, how to sit with the fear, how to do something with the fear, because this conversation for me is a bit more elevated. I've been applying so many modalities by now to help people overcome fears. And I know from personal experience, from working experience, that it's a very delicate thing. It's easy to say, stay with the fear, look at the fear, face your fear in the eye, and, see the fear and do it anyway. That does not work because our mechanisms of protection, there's such a power inside that wants to keep us safe. And I can speak about heart work here. And there are more, if we look at the psyche from the perspective of there are more parts within, that are trying to help us and protect us and keep us safe, you would be surprised to see how those parts get activated, and they literally come in to protect us in so many ways when things occur in our life, when we want to change something, when we want to do something that's not familiar, when we're going through a challenging experience. Our system is mainly designed to help us and protect us, and it will do whatever it takes. Sometimes my clients ask and they say, how is it possible that I have a critic in my head that criticizes me all the time, and it's not something good that it does, or a victim within that just comes and takes over, and it feels like it's the best option for my system, for me, rather than me being in my power, which would actually benefit me. How is that happening? Well, that is happening because everything, mostly your mind, is designed to protect you, and that's how it will that's what it will do. It will do whatever it takes. It would do whatever it takes. It would show up in ways in which to you as a reality they look not constructive, they look destructive,
Yeah, but
behaviors that are destructive.
It's only there to protect you, though.
Yes, but they are only there to protect us, and it takes, it's a very fine process to be able to get to a stage where you can release those protectors from their roles, so that you can actually find the freedom that you can find from fear. It's a whole conversation. It's a powerful conversation when we're going down this route. But I think it's beautiful to have it and to talk about these facets of the human mind. But yeah, so I think it was a very interesting conversation what we've done here. I'm not sure if we think we need to cover something else. What do you think, Sandra?
Well, maybe how can people work with you, or how can they connect with you? Maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah. So yeah, if there are no more questions coming from them, yeah, I can share that. Maybe you can share that some of it as well. People can find me on my Instagram. It's at viviana.apiok. This is where you'll find a lot of my work and a lot of my methods, and my content speaks for itself in terms of the things that I do to help people transform their lives. I like to think that we need to embrace this life as it is and live it to the fullest. And this perspective that I'm bringing now, it's about making sure we embrace everything about life. Like, we want to live it to the fullest, and we want to live to the fullest even these emotions that are not so good. We want to experience to the fullest everything that we need to experience in this lifetime. And I share that quite a bit in my content. I have a program. It's called Journey to Limitless Growth, and it's designed for people who wish to discover more joy, more freedom by letting go of the limitations of the past, whether that's a limiting belief or limiting beliefs or blockages, trauma from the past. But also, this program helps us to learn practices that helps us to be grounded in the present moment, to work with the present moment, to make the most, harness the present moment, and also how to manifest and create our future. We're putting some effort into that. So that's mainly what my work is all about, making sure people go through these processes and then are well equipped with tools so they can really enjoy this life to the fullest and create beautiful things for them. So yeah, you can find more about that on my Instagram. Come and join me, give me a follow if this was interesting and you think what we've talked about are things that you're passionate about or you want to learn more about. And I would love to have you in my energy. How about you, Sandra?
Yeah, you can find me on my socials, Instagram or Facebook, and it's the same. Yeah, I can say Sandra Ammerlaan, but it's the same name as it's on here because it's hard to spell it and it will take a long time. And what you can do if anyone would like to have a visualization on gaining more self-love, there is one for free on my website, and that is my website is laughatshit.com. So yeah, you can download the free visualization there as well. So I would like to connect with you through my socials. And if for any case if you want to work with me more often, or overcoming fear and become the best version of yourself, well, let's say, as my tagline says, if you want to make the shit of your past the fertilizer of your future, then connect with me, send me a message. I do have a few spots left at the moment for one-on-one sessions, but only a few because it's been quite busy and it's getting more busy. So yeah, let me know whatever. And if there's any questions according to this conversation, I would say let them post it on this below this video so that we can still reply to it later on, right?
Definitely. We're very thankful that we had you on the live today. I'm extremely grateful that I've spent the time with you, Sandra, and
Me
we
too.
had people watching this, and we had people that had questions and they had their own insights. If you feel like dropping more of the things that, maybe you've became more aware, or something that happened to you as a result of this conversation, drop them in the comments. We would love
Yeah.
to see them. So yeah, thank you for this time together. Thank you for this experience. And we are going to be connected. We're going to stay connected. We're here. We're on the internet. And definitely we're going to stay in touch.
It's a small world, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
really.
definitely.
I totally agree. Thank you for joining us. And Viviana, thank you for joining me. And yeah, let's keep in touch.
Definitely,
Have a
definitely.
great day,
Sending so many
everyone.
blessings to everyone.
Okay,
Bye for
bye.
now.